I'd like to welcome you to Leadership in a Time of Crisis. Today, we're going to talk about how you can impact your community around you, your atmosphere. If you're at home, maybe you're juggling some things right now and you feel like, man, I'm juggling all this stuff. Well, we're going to give you the secret power that's already within you, and you're not going to want to miss today. So I want to welcome Sylvia. She's an international speaker. She is a coach with the John Maxwell team. Can you say hi, Sylvia?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. And I'm introducing Brandon Pollard to you. He and his wife are leaders here in our community. They lead a church here in the Metroplex, and they're doing great things to impact our community. Thank you, Pastor Brandon.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have you. And so what we're doing today is we're going to be talking about what you're experiencing through this coronavirus. And so there's a chaos and crisis that's happening. And so you're possibly watching from work or at home, and you're juggling. And we want to give you some practical steps. With all this juggling right now, maybe it's school, and maybe it's homework, and maybe it's children, or maybe it's leadership, and what's the future hold? We want to give you hope. So there's two things, practical things you're going to walk away with today, and you're going to have hope today. So we want to be a voice of hope. Isn't that right, Sylvia?
That's right. So I want you to think about all the different roles that you play as a leader. Now, you might be a father, you might be a mother, you're a sister, you're an aunt or an uncle, you might be a teacher, a plumber, you might be an educator, you might be a speaker, a coach. We play many different roles in our lives, right? But there's one role that we all have in common. Pastor Brandon, you want to let people know what that is?
Yeah, it's actually influence. And influence is not manipulation. Influence actually adds value to someone. And so manipulation is getting someone to do what you want them to do. And inspiration is getting someone to do what's best for them. And so if you're at home and you're trying to help your children and trying to influence your kids, guess what? You're trying to get them to do what's best for them right now, doing their schoolwork, doing their homework. And so you're adding value to them, but you're getting them to do what's best for them. And so that's great leadership is influence. And so Sylvia, give us a couple quick steps that we can do. We want to make sure that we're intentional to add to our daily habits. So what can we do?
That's right. Before I get into those two things, I want to share a statement that I read from an author. And that statement said, influence is more powerful than authority. Influence is more powerful than authority. And I had to stop and pause and think about that. And as I thought about it, I realized how true that is. Because if you have influence, even though you may not be in a place of authority, you have the ability to influence the direction of that company, or maybe a family, or your neighborhood, or your school, or the organization that you're in. And so it's important as leaders that we do increase and we grow our influence. And of course, as Brandon said, we are not talking about manipulation. We are talking about participation. And so influence is very important. The first thing that I wanted to share about increasing our influence is walking in integrity. As a leader, it's very important for us to walk in integrity. So what that means and what that looks like is, one of the things is, if we say we're going to be somewhere, then we need to be there. We need to do the things that we say we are going to do. Can you speak into that, Brandon?
Yeah, I kind of got a funny story. Think about our Surgeon General, and think about this. If he had the cameras in front of him, he's being interviewed, and the camera's in front of him, and he pulls out a cigar or cigarette and starts smoking on it and says, listen, I want to tell you that cigarettes cause cancer, and you should not smoke cigarettes. Well, guess what? You're not going to be influenced or positively influenced by this leader called the Surgeon General. And so that's an extreme example, but that's something we all can relate to, saying that we've seen leaders ask us to do something, and yet they themselves don't know how to do it, or can't, or won't, refuse to do it. How about that?
That's great. That's a great example. It's comical, but it's true. So as leaders, we need to make sure that we are walking in integrity. As a leader, I want you to do this little action step, and you can just grab a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen and just write down 5 things that you would like to see in your team members. Like your ideal, I want you to think about your ideal team member, and I want you to list 5 things that you would like to see in your ideal team member. Now, once you have those 5 things listed, it could be you want them to be reliable, you want them to be dependable, you want them to be courteous and kind to your customers, you want them to be positive and uplifting and encouraging. Now, after you have that list of 5 things in your ideal employee or your ideal team member, I want you as a leader to stop and think about that list, look at it really good, and ask yourself, do I as a leader do these things? It's very important, because if we as a leader, we must lead by example. Is that right?
Yeah, that's definitely right. And so what it does is when you're writing those things down, it gives you an example of where you can grow in. And so we don't want to discourage leaders, because there's always places that we can grow. And so we want to encourage you that this is not, to reveal weaknesses in us as leaders. This is actually to help us to see there's some areas that we really want to grow in. And so how do we grow? What are some areas? What's that next step that we can grow? And that's the second thing. You want to talk about that?
Okay, yes. And as he said, we're not here to downplay or to speak negatively about leaders, but we need to grow. As a leader, we need to grow. And self-awareness is a big thing with us as well, because could be some blind spots that we have that we're not aware of. So the second tip that I want to give as far as growing our leadership or growing our influence is to be an encouraging leader. As a leader, it's important to be encouraging to our team members. We all need encouragement. And that's one of the things that as a leader, it doesn't cost us anything, but we can certainly be encouraging, especially in this time and season that we're in right now.
Yeah, I will say this is a place where, a lot of leaders will tell you about their successes. And I have some areas where, I've just completely failed. And I just want you to know, if you're watching this, encouragement doesn't come naturally to everyone, but it can be something that you can work on, and you can be intentional to grow. And so encouragement is something that is so needed. I can tell you that I've gotten phone calls, and there's not one time that it was encouraging that I thought, well, I didn't need that. And so if you're watching out there right now and you're watching this and you say, encouragement would be great for me, because I'm in a place where, I'm juggling all of these things. And if someone just had an encouraging word, it would mean a lot. Well, guess what? If it means a lot to you, there's more people out there that they need encouragement. So there's never not a good time to speak encouragement. That's my point.
That's right. And that is so true. And these principles that we're sharing with you today, they can be applied in your teams, in your organization, in your church, in your school, with your family members as well. It's important that as leaders, if we want to influence our team members, or if we want to influence our family, that we need to be encouraging. The deeper you want to influence a person or a team member or your family member, then the more caring you need to be, or the more you need to show that you care about that individual.
That's good. That's really good. And that's really how you lead a family in your house. That's how you lead at work. That's how you lead everywhere. So Sylvia, you have some really great material that's really deeper. If someone wants to dive in and go even deeper into this and really work on their leadership, can you share your website with them?
Yes. If you want to connect with me, please go to johnmaxwellgroup.com/Sylvia Torrez. That's johnmaxwellgroup.com/Sylvia Torrez.
Okay. And also too, if you just need prayer, if you want something that's maybe some teaching, some spiritual teaching, I want to make sure you're aware that we have a website, graceforeternity.com. We'd love to know what your needs are. We'd love to pray with you. And if you want to contact us, again, graceforeternity.com. So I want to thank you for watching from home, and I want to thank you for, I know you're juggling a lot right now, and Sylvia and I these videos are for you guys. If you'll share those videos, maybe you know somebody else that's in leadership that needs to hear this and be encouraged. We're not going to stop posting these videos to encourage others. There's going to be more tips on how to just lead in the house, lead in the home, and lead in the marketplace. And so we just want to encourage you. If you have any questions, message us below. We want to answer those questions. We want you to know you're not alone. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you for watching.